you.
All right, it's 1 o'clock. We are back for our afternoon session of today's budget hearings. Just so you know, council members, because of the last running a little bit late, they'll be coming back in as we go. So just for the viewing public, our afternoon session will begin with the Office of Public Defender right now, and then we'll have procurement in here at 2 o'clock, and then Department of Transportation at 3 o'clock. All right, with that, I'm just going to go ahead and turn it over to you. And actually, colleagues, we're going to have copies. They're being made right now and brought to us, but I go ahead and invite you to start, and we'll follow on screen until we get the copies. So.
Sure, thank you. Good evening. I'm Kenneth Days. I'm the Director and Chief Public Defender for the City of Atlanta Office of the Public Defender. To my far left is our Business and Operations Manager, Batika Strickland. To my immediate left is one of our Deputy Directors, Ms. Dondell Patterson. To my immediate right is another Deputy Director, John Tapia. And to my far right is our final Deputy Director, Mr. Dennis Collier. Greetings, council members, and thank you for the opportunity to present our department's FY24 budget presentation. The Office of the Public Defender is a holistic, client-centered law practice providing comprehensive representation for every client that we serve. Our basic principles are to provide advocacy, outreach, and access, and our vision and mission align with the mayor's pillars of safety, equal opportunity, and ethical practices. We continually seek to demonstrate that well-resourced and proactive public defender offices contribute to the stabilization, health, equity, and economic empowerment of the communities that they serve. The structure of our department includes a very dedicated and talented group of attorneys, investigators, social workers, client advocates, legal support team, and administrative staff. The department operates multiple divisions in what is arguably the highest volume court in the Southeast United States, which includes, from our department side, representation of state traffic offenses, criminal ordinance violations. We provide DUI representation that's inclusive also of administrative license suspension hearing components, and a broad and inclusive social assessments that are done for each client, including counseling and referrals to alcohol or substance abuse treatment if necessary. We also provide code enforcement defense, which requires robust proficiencies in real estate law, probate law, a knowledge of title standards, and landlord-tenant matters. Our immigration unit provides daily Padilla analysis and advisories to our attorney staff, and we also have an appellate division. As well, we also employ social workers and client advocates to support the ancillary needs of our clients, which greatly impacts the reduction of chronic recidivism for misdemeanor offenses, and it generally supports community stabilization through direct referrals to service support. Our department was fortunate to have a number of notable achievements during FY23. Understanding that our service does not begin nor end in the courtroom, much of our success comes from our proactive outreach work, where we endeavor to prevent Atlanta's citizens from ever becoming clients in need of the assistance that we provide. We operate 4 active legal clinics. We have 15 current and renewed partnerships with third-party service providers, and we regularly initiate large-scale projects with community partners, citizen support, to build trust in the services that we provide. Once a week, our department produces the most comprehensive community resource guide in the city. It's distributed to more than 100 individuals and organizations. That guide gives the address, phone number, and hours of operations of various resources for identifications and birth certificates for securing housing options in temporary and emergency shelter, for healthcare and treatment locations, contact to crisis lines for domestic violence, substance abuse, sex trafficking, and suicide. It also provides resources for food pantries, medication, pharmaceutical services, clothing referrals, employment referrals, and even the weekly forecast, among other services that are listed. And the guide is updated every week to ensure that provider information is accurate. Our department personnel regularly conducts Know Your Rights presentations to neighborhood groups, faith-based entities, and public and private organizations. These presentations educate citizens and serve significantly to reduce negative encounters with law enforcement. And we're very proud of our outreach and job referral and placement. Through our department's holistic employment program, we have assisted dozens in securing stable, above living wage employment. I think as of January to March, that included 18 individuals. And I know this, the following months, we're on track to probably do about the same. And it continues our assistance of those that are continually employed through our offerings of financial literacy classes and individual counseling. We've continued our longstanding commitment to youth outreach with additional partnerships with organizations that focus specifically on the holistic development of teens and young adults. And we have initiated, coordinated, and implemented neighborhood projects that directly impact our young Atlanta constituents, like the resurfacing of the Thomasville Recreation Center's basketball courts. That was done in partnership with SCAD and Art in the Paint and our Department of Parks and Rec, amongst others. And because of our work with vulnerable populations of Atlanta citizens and our strong relationships with housing providers, we regularly secure temporary and supporting housing through our referral networks. And this year we continued our annual November and December holiday meals and services events, wherein we served approximately 120 individuals in November and another 105 in December in multiple locations. In our legal practice, FY23 has seen a significant increase in our DUI representation. We've consistently had anywhere from 900 to over 1,000 active cases, forcing resource reallocations and operational changes to key personnel. It's also been a robust year for our appellate division. Some of the ambiguity and interpretations of state law in our city code has led to an increase in the numbers of cases that go to trial. The subsequent effect has led to an increase in the number of appeals filed by our office. Traffic representation has also increased month to month, and to date we have remained consistent in offering reinstatement services for those clients arrested for having a suspended license, and in providing assistance with clients needing help securing valid documents or maintaining commercial driver's license for work. Our department's case numbers for criminal defense of state statutes and city ordinance accusations has also increased incrementally each month this year versus FY22. And we have also maintained the ability to conduct a needs assessment and a mental health assessment to each client in custody. FY23 has allowed us to streamline our outreach capabilities and provide a more efficient delivery of key services. Our proposed FY24 budget, as you can see from the chart, anticipates an increased variance of approximately $61,000. The allotted head count for the department is currently at 46, which includes 31 attorney positions and 15 positions for support. Our attorney attrition for FY23 has been higher than usual, primarily due to substantial and immediate increases in salaries in some of our competing jurisdictions. However, we have implemented some immediate retention and recruitment strategies, and within the last month, we've been fortunate to fill 2 attorney positions and are currently onboarding 2 more. As is reflected in the current graph, approximately 89% of our budget is allocated to personnel, and that tends to fluctuate year over year, somewhere between that 89 and about 92%. The expectation is that the percentage of our budget dedicated to personnel costs will remain consistent also for FY24. Priorities for the Office of the Public Defender for FY24 will be primarily consistent with the previous year. First, to continue implementation of our retention and recruitment strategies, increasing the number of attorneys and support staff to meet the increasing demands of our DUI, appellate, and in-custody divisions. Secondly, we have been in ongoing conversations with the Department of Finance, our CFO, and the Department of Human Resources, working to develop ways to adjust some of our departmental salaries to remain competitive in the current market. Third, we are currently working with AIM Procurement and the Innovation and Delivery to identify a new evidence review system which will allow us to significantly reduce some costs and increase some efficiencies primarily in our DUI Defense Division. We are also working to enhance or upgrade the department's case management system. Our current system was grant funded, and we're now in a need of a system that has a higher capacity and is better at accommodating our data needs. Lastly, we will continue to prioritize our community engagement. Promoting our proactive community initiatives has proven itself to be fiscally sound, reducing costs to law enforcement and to the other judicial agencies. Our engagement has always been an important component of the work we do, and it's our intention to continue our outreach simultaneous to providing the highest quality legal representation to the clients we serve. And with that, I will be very happy to take any questions that you may have.
All right, I'll open up for questions. I don't know if you have any, or Ms. Norwood. I did want to ask, so you mentioned the 20% attrition, and I know you said kind of what the trend that you're seeing as to why we're losing him, who we're losing him to, and I missed what you said. If you could repeat that for me, please.
Yes. Typically, our attrition is about anywhere from 5 to 15%. Mm-hmm. The past couple of years, it's been hovering at an average of about 20. It's gone as high as 25%. Mm-hmm. But I mean, we consider that basically, as you've heard from the other departments and judicial agencies, the market for attorneys has increased dramatically. The salaries have increased dramatically. This was an immediate response to sort of post-pandemic needs. Every court system across the state and really across the country, all are experiencing significant backlogs. And so in order to attract talent, probably the quickest and easiest way to do that is obviously increasing funds. But I think some of our competing jurisdictions here locally have increased by as much as, in some cases, upwards of 50 to 100% in salary. So it makes it very difficult to try to match that in a really immediate way. So we have employed some retention strategies. We've got a really dedicated staff, so that has been good for us. But I think that holding our attrition to that 20% is, I think it's really impressive for us, but it's still, not a number that we want to see.
Someone said something in a different department yesterday that I thought was interesting, as I reflected on something that I heard someone in the law department say. They said that for some of the other city departments, not law related, that the city of Atlanta or a city government position is actually one where you end up, like you actually kind of seek it, versus the law department may be a place where someone starts and then leapfrogs and jumps either back into private once they've gotten that experience. Do you find that's the case with some of these that we've lost, or is it, they just come as they come and they go as they go?
No, I'll tell you, that's fluctuated over the years. I think if you'd asked that question to me 10 years ago, I would have had a different response about our department. But I think now, quite honestly, we do an exceptional job, I think, of training, particularly new attorneys.
Right.
And so a lot of the attraction to our office is because, anybody coming out of law school or is a new practicing attorney, anywhere from 1 to 3 years, is looking in our office because of the amount of in-court experience that you're going to get. There's a lot of litigation that we do daily basis. We're in court every day, and that just is uncommon for most jurisdictions, most public defender offices. Most public defender offices are not in court on a daily basis. So anybody that is employed by our office as attorney staff is going to see, they're going to get robust trial experience, and that's a big attraction. And so conversely, we want to make sure that those personnel are adequately trained, and because in some respects, they're trained faster and become more experienced than some senior level people in the private sector, they make an attractive to poach that personnel when, if you tried 100 cases or you've, had literally thousands of clients, you're a much more adept attorney in the private sector where, your caseload may be, a tenth of what it is in our office. And so it's a good place to pull talent, but, we invest a lot in training.
I think you articulated it far better than I did. Oh, I don't think. I know you articulated. That's exactly what they said. It's like right out of law school, you come here, boom, you're thrown right into it, and you're cranking and grinding, and you're working on a wide variety of cases. And then all of a sudden, you can take that experience and just kind of jump,
right.
and sometimes specialize, right? And you can find kind of a focus, and then either find a boutique or a large firm that needs that particular skill set and be able to command that. So I appreciate I have a better appreciation of the challenges that y'all have in terms of retention. What I would encourage you to, and it looks like you've got a good increase in terms of the budget for regular salaries. I know part of that is simply the COLA. But I think what you hopefully have heard from us up here is that I think everybody understands the pressures that all departments are facing, both in recruitment and retention, and for some of the really important functionalities. I mean, I would say that yours is one in terms of the public need and public good that there is appetite on our side, so long as it's a thoughtful and intentional strategy and just kind of the business case has been built that, hey, we have to do X, Y, and Z in order to keep the best and the brightest that we're open to it. So I appreciate that. That's why I wanted to dive into that a little bit, just kind of understand your thoughts and perspective on that piece, because I think retention is just something we're talking about everywhere, right? And I'm not sure there's going to be any relief in terms of those pressures anytime soon for anybody. So we just got to try and keep up. And I think it's too ambitious to try and get a step or two ahead, but I think if we can just maintain, we'll be all right. And then I appreciate the comments you said about the technology, or even just kind of the platforms. I think that's another way to also be able to do just as much with not as much, and especially if you're working with some vacancies. So I don't have anything else unless Mr. Shuck does. Watch out, here come the good question.
Now, your budget is very straightforward, but I need to be reminded of something here. Whereas your purchased contracted services line is flat going back to prior year, that represents close to a doubling of the year before that. I mean, and could you just remind me of why that is?
I'll turn that question over to John Tapia.
Yes, so there was a few innovation initiatives that we had launched. One was the case management system, but as well as some costs that we had to build in for court fees that were unpredictable. So we started getting court fees charged to our office from municipal court, from Georgia State Patrol, different state entities related to getting information for our clients on their behalf, and related to appeals, paying different contractors to take down the information in the different sessions, and providing transcripts. So those are costs that are somewhat built in but unpredictable. So there's some room within those accounts, but we just need to maintain them in case we do need to draw from them.
Okay. Thank you. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
All right, actually, this may be a quick one. We'll buy a little bit of time for ourselves, but thank you for the presentation and the information, and we appreciate the work that you do. And like Shook said, a very straightforward budget request. So thank you all.
Thank you as well.
Thank you.
All right, everybody. With that, we stand recessed yet again until 2 o'clock when the Office of Procurement will be in, and then that will be followed by Transportation. So thank you.